morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline the 16th of March 2024. This week's headlines. In a hospital in Qom, Iran, a cleric filmed an Iranian woman whose veil fell off her head while she was breastfeeding her baby. A wounded partygoer pretended to be dead behind a car. He raised his head and saw the abduction of a friend. Then, a Palestinian terrorist noticed him and shot him point blank in the head with an AK-47. The United States Commission on International Religious Freedom delegation cut short a Saudi trip after a rabbi was asked to remove his kippah. India is to enforce a migrant law that excludes Muslims. A vicar says baptisms are a ticket to something for some asylum seekers. The Archbishops of Canterbury and York urge caution on the extremism redefinition. 73% of Iranians don't support their Muslim government. An Indian state bans child marriage. And what's this? A cleric filmed an Iranian woman whose veil fell off her head while she was breastfeeding her newborn baby in a hospital in Qom, Iran. The cleric was confronted by a courageous woman who asked him to hand over his phone and erase the pictures and videos he had taken of her. The cleric's phone was confiscated by a crowd when he tried to flee, and they tossed down his turban. The brave woman was later thrown in jail. See this video. A Hamas terrorist callously killed an Israeli partygoer who witnessed the abduction of his friend. See this video. A delegation from the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom cut short a Saudi trip after the member, who is a rabbi, was asked to remove his kippah. Saudi Arabia is one of the richest and most modernized of Muslim-majority countries, but doesn't go as far as tolerating Jewish headgear. India's government has announced plans to enact a controversial citizenship law that has been criticised for being anti-Muslim. The Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, will allow non-Muslim religious minorities from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan to seek citizenship. The authorities say it will help those facing persecution. The law was actually passed in 2019 and sparked mass protests in which scores of people died and many more were arrested. But rules for it were not drawn up in the wake of the unrest, and only now have they been, according to the country's Home Affairs Minister Amit Shah. He made the announcement on Monday, writing on social media that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had delivered on another commitment and realised the promise of the makers of our constitution to be the Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians living in those countries. The ministry said there has been many misconceptions about the law and its implementation was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. An online portal for receiving applications has now been set up. This act is only for those who have suffered persecution for years and have no other shelter in the world except India, apparently. The implementation of the CAA has been one of the key poll promises of Mr. Modi's ruling Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, in the run-up to general elections this year. It amends the 64-year-old Indian citizenship law, which currently prevents illegal migrants from becoming Indian citizens. Under the new law, those seeking citizenship will have to prove that they arrived in India from Pakistan, Bangladesh or Afghanistan by the 31st of December 2014. Some asylum seekers see baptisms as a ticket to something, and most baptism requests were when they were appealing an asylum claim, a vicar has told MPs. The Reverend Matthew Firth told the Home Affairs Select Committee he was brought groups of asylum seekers looking to convert. MPs were hearing evidence after it was claimed that the Clapham attacker, Abdul Shakur Zaidi, got asylum on the grounds of his conversion to Christianity. The Bishop of Chelmsford told MPs that she queried Reverend Firth's claims. The figures don't quite add up to me, the Right Reverend Julie Francis Dehani said. She added, I have spoken to clergy who have turned people down for baptism because they did not feel they met the criteria. The clergy took baptisms very seriously, she said. Reverend Firth, who was a priest at St Cuthbert's Church in Darlington, left the Church of England in 2020 and is now a vicar for the Free Church of England. He previously wrote in the Telegraph that there was a conveyor belt system of baptisms of asylum seekers hoping to obtain leave to remain in the UK on religious grounds. He told MPs that when he came to St Cuthbert's in 2018, he found there was a surprising number of asylum seekers being baptised. He honoured the ones that were already in the process, but then started to look into it a bit further. He said, after these baptisms, week in, week out, significant groups of mainly Iranian and Syrian young male asylum seekers were being brought to me in sizable cohorts. He told MPs that 6 or 7 people were being brought to him every 2 or 3 weeks. Asked who brought the asylum seekers to him, Reverend Firth said, "There was one particular individual who I think had received the right to remain in the UK through the asylum application system. This particular individual," he added, "was bringing lots of people who, he said, needed to be baptized." The Diocese of Durham has strongly rejected Reverend Firth's claims, and the Bishop of Chelmsford, the Right Reverend Julie Francis Dehkani, told MPs she doesn't believe there is evidence to suggest Church of England baptisms are being used to help people gain asylum. See this video.
What I am saying is that if he's claiming that the Church of England is being a conveyor belt for baptisms in order for people to gain asylum status, that is not the experience that I have, and I don't believe that there's the evidence to suggest it.
Well, perhaps we're arguing around semantics there. Maybe there is a conveyor belt attempting to get baptisms, but that fortunately many of those are not succeeding.
Possibly, but I haven't seen the evidence for it. I haven't seen the evidence
But
for
you've heard
it.
evidence
My experience.
You've heard evidence from Reverend Firth this morning. Is there any particular part of it that you disagree with?
Well, the experience that I have.
No, that's not the answer to my question.
Okay, but let the bishop answer.
My question is, are there any aspects to the evidence you heard from Reverend Firth this morning that you disagree with?
Well, he was speaking about his particular context in Darlington, and I can't comment on that specific context in Darlington.
The Archbishops of Canterbury and York have criticised Michael Gove's plan to redefine extremism. Justin Welby and Stephen Cottrell said the response to what Rishi Sunak has called a shocking rise in extremism risks vilifying the wrong people and creating more division. The pair added that it threatened freedom of speech and worship. A government spokesman said it would ensure no extremist organisations or individuals were given a platform. Speaking to BBC Radio's Today programme, Mr. Welby said extremism happened in all faiths and was always changing. It's a general principle that extremism is a shapeshifter, he said. It's always moving around and changing itself, and it happens in all sorts of faith groups, and it is a very dangerous problem indeed. He noted the rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobic behaviour and the fear within those communities, and agreed that extremism was a problem that needed to be addressed. The role of government is essential to preserve security, but there are different ways of getting to an understanding of what we mean by extremism, and it is being decided by government without drawing in the groups and networks across the country that where the mistake lies. The overall tone of political discussion in the UK was extremely concerning, he said. See this video.
We are a country where we love our neighbours. We are building Britain together. But I think that our great achievement in building the world's most successful multi-ethnic, multi-faith democracy is being deliberately undermined. There are forces here at home trying to tear us apart. Since October the 7th, there have been those trying to take advantage of the very human angst that we all feel about the terrible suffering that war brings to the innocent, to women and children, to advance a divisive, hateful ideological agenda. On too many occasions recently, our streets have been hijacked by small groups who are hostile to our values and have no respect for our democratic traditions.
A confidential report reveals that Iranians are against their government. See this video.
According to the confidential report, a staggering 73% of Iranians now support the separation of religion from the state, a significant leap from less than 31% in 2015. This surge in secular sentiment is a direct response to the Mahsa Amini protests, marking a profound challenge to the regime since its 1979 inception.
An Indian state repeals an old colonial law and bans child marriage. See this video.
In a groundbreaking move, the Indian state of Assam repealed the colonial-era Assam Muslim Marriages and Divorce Registration Act of 1935, effectively banning child marriage amongst its Muslim population.
And is this dumb and doer? Mass self-flagellation? What is it? See this video. Following this news, Tercia and I are going to chat with guest Christine Klein in Free Thought Hour. Christine is an ex-Christian who is pro-choice for very good reasons. Watch it to find out why. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.